Hello, and welcome to the Mystical Connection.
Yes, well, hello. My name is Ray Frazier. I'm your host tonight. And of course, joining me on the show is my beautiful wife, Michelle, who happens to also be a tremendous spirit medium and an excellent angel card reader. One day during my meditations, I got inspired. They showed me a big picture of a butterfly, and the butterfly was transforming from a caterpillar to a butterfly. And I thought, boy, that sure seems mystical. And then I thought that'd be a great name for a show, Mystical Connection. We're going to help you connect with the mystical side of your life. We'll talk about things that many other shows won't talk about, and we'll answer any questions that you have. And I studied 12 years to develop my spirit mediumship. I started out as a tarot card reader and developed my mediumship. And once I had, polished my mediumship skills enough that, they were accurate, I gave up on the cards. Nothing wrong with the cards if you like cards.
So,
Yeah, mediumship is a very interesting philosophy because it's actually combined of about 20 different phases of mediumship. Some of them you may be familiar with: clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, uh, levitation, things like that. Those are all different phases of mediumship. Some of them are a little outdated these days, but everybody has at least one phase of spirit mediumship. If you work at it and develop it, they'll give you another one. I have clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, uh, and healing skills that I've developed over the years. And I studied through the National Spiritual Association of Churches, which is a foundation that believes in continued life after death, and worked in a development seance circle every Wednesday for 12 years. I would go sit in this development seance circle. Now, seances are something we'll cover on another show, but they're very fun, they're very interesting, and if you want to get some confidence in the fact that your life as a spirit entity is eternal, a seance can help you do that. It's a wonderful gift that everyone has, and the key is though having a opportunity to use it to help other people. And what we call modern mediumship started in 1848 with a family known as the Fox family. They were from Hydesville, New York, and they moved into a house that was haunted. Clairvoyance means seeing clear pictures, that you get pictures in your mind. What I do, I just look at the pictures and I read what the pictures, say. If I see a beautiful garden and a young child on a tricycle, that's what I say. And it is, I find it to be the most accurate way to receive intuitive information.
so when did you know that you had abilities?
Well, it's kind of crazy. First, I'll say that a spirit medium is someone whose physical body is sensitive to the vibrations from spirit. We all have a unique spiritual vibration. It's like a fingerprint. There's only one of us in the whole universe. And that's something which spirit can identify with, and which, as a spirit medium, when somebody comes in, you won't be able to tell specifically, what they are, but you'll know whether it's good energy or bad energy. And they'll also show you pictures about what's going on in that person's life. I'll give one example. One of the most amazing ones that I had is I had given up the tarot cards. I happened to be working at a metaphysical center in Dearborn, Michigan, and I had a lady come in, and she was having some issues, and so I told her, I said, very soon, within 45 days, you'll find yourself in a near accident, and you'll see a red pickup truck slide past you on the driver's side on its roof. Of course, we both chuckled about that a little bit. How would I be able to know that? Well, I just left it with her because when Spirit gives it to you, you just pass it on. You don't read the mail, you just deliver it. And she was back about a month later, and she said, "You're never going to believe it. On the freeway that goes down to downtown Detroit, to the Joe Louis Arena, they were going to a hockey game there where the Red Wings were playing, and there was an accident up in front of them, and somebody behind them was going way too fast, and so they tried to swerve out of the lane so they didn't crash and hit all these cars. Hit the center ramp and flipped up on the roof, and she said it was just exactly like you described. They slid right past us on the roof. Nobody was hurt, but for me, as a kind of a reinforcement that you had gotten the message. And of course, television and movies, make it so dark, and it isn't like that at all. I mean, the spirits, for the most part, uh, explain that in a minute, for the most part, are loving and benevolent. They want to come through and let us know that they're okay and that they're having a good time there. Because what happens when your day of transition comes, I don't use the word when you die very often, it's more of a transition. You're changing your life form from a physical form to a spiritual form. We were spirit before we came into the physical, and we'll be spirit when we leave the physical. So I call it a transition. You're making a transition. You were here for a certain number of days as part of your destiny, fate, if you want to call it that. And then when it's time to go home, that's the home. We transition back to our spiritual form. And when you get to the other side, there are, your family, your friends, your loved ones, people that you knew that passed away before you did, that are there to meet you and greet you. I call it a grand reunion when all the people that you love and all the people who loved you will be waiting to welcome you home. That includes all of your pets as well. The spirit realm is designed to be a place of repose where you can rest and recoup and reevaluate your life. The first thing that you do once you're done with the grand reunion is go through what's called a life's review, where literally every single event that happened in your life is presented to you to review and see if you would do it differently. This conversation will be part of all of ours. When I go home and when you go home, the first thing you'll do is you'll sit down with your spirit guides and go over your life. And of course, this life is about lessons and rewards. If you're not being rewarded for something, you should kind of focus your mind on what you should be learning. But it is an opportunity for you to gain, a higher level of vibration by understanding your spiritual consciousness and using it to help other people.
And the higher your vibration, you're going to attract other things of a higher vibration.
Yeah, positive in, positive out.
Yeah, exactly.
And as I always say, we are spiritual creatures having a physical experience, not the other way around.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You see children born. And I love kids so much. But you can almost see in their personality what their past life may have been like. And if you've ever had a past life regression, which is an interesting experience where you actually are self-hypnotized or hypnotized to go back through previous lifetimes, you can gain a lot of information that may explain why you are the way that you are, why you think the way that you do. Your ancestry has a great deal to do with it as well. So you can find some information about your ancestry. Maybe not the place or whatever, but certain people have different attitudes about life, and you'll be able to find maybe a source of why you always do this or why you don't like that. It can all come out as you do a past life regression.
Just you can choose between getting an intuitive reading, or you can try to connect with a loved one who's crossed over. Either or is fine. And we did seances at the store for, well, I'm sure we're going to talk about 23 years, and we'll talk more about that on another show. But there's been a lot of information that's come through the years, and our clients certainly enjoyed that weekly public seance.
Well, we actually did the last 4 National Houdini seances.
Yes, you did. But that was
an interesting experience. I was sitting at home one day. It was absolutely a Wednesday, and phone rang, and I picked up, and is this Raymond Fraser? Yes, it is. Who's calling? This is Sid Radner. And I didn't know who Sid Radner was. And I said, what can I do for you, Mr. Radner? He said, I'm a Harry Houdini Historian. And we have a seance once a year, and we would like you to lead the seance this time. And it was held at the Anderson Theater at Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. And I thought, sure, I'd like to do that. It didn't pay anything, of course, other than the knowledge of being able to do it. And so I spent the next 4 days because it is a big deal. They had probably 1,500 people in the auditorium, for the seance. But I spent 4 days pouring over everything Houdini that I could, so that I could recognize, identify the tips that were being sent through. Now, the one thing that happened the very first session, we made a pretty strong call to Harry and asking him to come and give us a sign. And he did so by tipping the table that we were holding the seance at, which was kind of an interesting experience. There was a group of Houdini, historians that joined in all the seances, and the thing that they were running into was the table was bobbing and bouncing around for them. They'd never had that happen before. But Houdini's wife Bess told us that he would never come on live because he said he spent his whole life making his name a household word. And if he comes through, then they'd stop having the seances, and he would just become a memory in people's mind. And yes.
Oh, we are going to have, I think there's 2 people that want readings, and one was having trouble with the Zoom link. So I gave them the phone number to call in. And so whenever you're ready, you can give us a call. You will be on speaker so that, everybody can hear and hear the feedback. Oh, I'm sorry.
So that's okay. But Bess would come through.
Oh, yeah.
And Hardeen, Harry's brother, would come through. And then at this particular scene, his grandnephew was there. And I talked about this reporter for the Jewish News who was actually in the inner circle with us. That's the people that are sitting right at the seance table. And all the things that he had discovered and reported about Harry. And of course, I had what was historically written about Harry, but not actually events that went on in his life. And his grandnephew came up after it. He said, "Boy," he said, "this has been a real pleasure." He said, "You hit it right on the nail." And so they invited us the next year to go out to Las Vegas. Gina, okay, well, I want to tell you, Gina, I get an energy that goes back a ways that is, let's just call it difficult. It's like, you catch something, you can't get rid of it, and it hasn't been constant, but it's been there and gone and there and gone. It seems to be something that, you wish you could just have things settle down. This is going to be a very great year for you, better than 2020 and 2021 combined. And it starts very early, and you can expect that it will. And I think that this issue that I'm speaking about is being at odds with someone who's very close to you, a family member, perhaps a love relationship, something like that. But I'm going to tell you, by the time you get to the 1st of June, you're going to be so chilled out and happy with your life. I don't see you being in a situation where there's any, what you might want to call conflict or heartache or anything like that. And so you have to be willing to accept the good news when it comes. So keep an open heart and an open mind. I would hold all travel until after the 1st of July. We are also going into a Mercury retrograde January 14, which lasts until February 4th. And so that's not a good time to buy electronic products and, to start new projects or sign contracts. It's a funny thing. It just comes and goes. But, I've been studying Mercury retrogrades for 40 years. And the one thing I find out about them, and this is the encouraging part, is that if you've been having a troubled situation, Mercury retrograde, as you pass through it, will bring that to an end. So you don't have to deal with it anymore. And so, the other thing I would say is, you need to find a, I guess, polite way is what I'll say to, express your feelings, because, you're like, you're like a what do you call it? A dummy that gets a punching dummy, punching like a punching bag.
Like a man.
Yeah, you're just taking the hits and not fighting back. And it doesn't help you to be argumentative or things like that. The best thing you can do is help resolve the situation so you don't have to deal with it anymore. And I think you're going to be able to do that. I think you'll actually have that done before Memorial Day, and it will stay with you for a long time. The other last thing I would add is you're a very generous person, and most people when they talk about generosity, they talk about money, and I'm going to use that same analogy with you. It's good to be generous, but don't help those that don't appreciate it or who you've helped before and they haven't repaid you. Just keep your purse under lock and key, so to speak. Keep it locked so you don't go into it too easily. And your money will be smooth, starting just after the first week of March. Things seem to get a lot better for you. So there's some bright energy that's going to come around you. It could be somebody. It's funny how it's not funny. It's interesting how when you have the right person's vibration around you, it makes life better for living, and it makes the problems that you think are big become very, very small. And that's kind of the energy I see around you. So I would say that this could be a year for financial stability, affairs of the heart stability. I would say if in relation, as I talk about relationship, they're showing me they're pointing over their shoulder to the back. I would say that the indication of that is that if there's a previous relationship that you're considering re-entering, I would say I wouldn't do that. It just doesn't feel comfortable at all. Whatever problems, issues, circumstances you had in the past will continue in the future if you recreate an old failed relationship. But I would keep your eyes bright and your mind happy in the possibility that someone wonderful will come into your life. If you are happily enjoined or married, then you can expect that it might be a time for a recommitment of vows or a second honeymoon or something like that, and it'll be greatly enjoyed and appreciated by both of you. The biggest energy around Debbie right now is career, finding a work that pays the kind of money that she needs. And I think she had a good job before COVID snuck in and snuffed it out. And I would believe that within a short distance from where she lives, shorter than where she was working before, there's going to be an opportunity that will pay her actually more than she was making, give her an opportunity to make more than she was making before, which is going to just take a lot of pressure off her. Seems to be a lot of heartache around hers that has to do with career and jobs and what am I going to do next? One of the things I always encourage people to do is to make up affirmations. I need to be making, $500 a week or whatever it is by Friday, January 17th or whatever the date is, and just repeat it every day. I need to get a raise or a good job that will pay me the amount of money that I need, and I need to be making at least $500 a week to cover my bills. And let your spirit guides, take that up to the universe, and the universe will help you out. Now, I talk about spirit guides. Who are they? That's an interesting point. Spirit guides are people who have, or entities, I should say, that have lived in the physical form for the most part, and who have passed away, have transitioned, and decided to become helpful servants to get people to survive through this life. I have been told many times by people in spirit that many spirits do not even choose to come into the physical form because it's such a difficult life. But everybody, depending on who you listen to, some people will say, oh, you only have one spirit guide, or you have a master guide and, no others. Everybody has 5 or 6 spirit guides that are with them all the time. And, all you have to do is put your thoughts into the ethers. The ethers are the air between the physical world and the spiritual world, and they will hear your message and they will work on it for you. But be convicted. Be sure that you feel comfortable with what you're asking for or what you're needing, because they will bring it through. And then that will bring peace to you. I would also say that there's a gentleman around you. I see him resting. They're showing him resting his head on a pillow, which is a sign that he's not doing tremendously well. He doesn't feel very good. I don't think it's anything terminal, but I do believe that it's something that you surely would want to overlook or not pay attention to at the time he's feeling this way. And so if this is somebody you can identify, and this could be, brother, father, next door neighbor, former lover, partner, I should say, I guess the right word, but it seems to be something, COVID, it's easy to say, well, it could be COVID, and I don't usually say that because, COVID is just something that all of us have to, live with for a while yet. I just don't sense that it's COVID. I think it's something else. But they're showing him, kind of falling back and resting his head on the pillow and just kind of closing his eyes and relaxing. Now, of course, that's a scene that you could identify as what a person might look like if they were going to pass away. And I won't rule that out, but I don't think that's going to be the case. They're not showing me any transition, but they are going to see a situation that, we face a lot of different health problems here in the physical form. And, I believe without any question that, all the healing materials, the treatments that we need to cure every disease that ever exists in our lives can be found on the planet. And it's just a matter of discovering it. They got a cure for AIDS. They'll get a cure for COVID as well. They're already coming out with pills and things like that. And of course, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know anything about that. But it just seems like these things are popping up that certainly we should be taking full advantage of them and get rid of the rhetoric that people are using to use this disease to their advantage. And we want people to be well. And again, you can ask your spirit guide, I'm not feeling well. I don't know what I've got. Please help me find a way to recover from it and live in natural health. It's a blessing to know that you have spirit guides. They are your very best friends. And the cool thing about them is you can't make them go away. You can say, oh, I hate you. Why do I ever talk to you anyway? The next day you call them. They'll say, hello, we're back. Because they're not intimidated by the fact that you're having a bad situation, because they understand. And no matter what you say, they'll be there to help you when you need them, just as a very best friend would. And the interesting thing is that, when you complete your transition, they'll be waiting at the gate to introduce you to all the people who've gone before you. So it's a wonderful thing to look forward to. Other information from your mom is one thing which I don't know if you've noticed yet, but you will, is they seem, if you haven't been listening to the radio, listen to the radio, and I promise you that within 2 days you will hear one of her favorite songs that will be sent directly to you for your benefit and enjoyment only. Okay. And then that's gonna be her message to you that, hey, I'm doing fine. How are you doing? Don't be afraid to talk to her. I mean, the maternal instinct doesn't go away because you pass away. It's there and even stronger because, in many cases like yourself, you've done a very great deal to help everybody else but yourself. And your mom recognizes that. And so she wants to be sure that you're doing okay. And so take pride in yourself and do something nice for yourself every day. It'll make your life easier and make you feel happier. And of course, mom's watching, so she will know.
Oh boy, that's famous last words. Mom is watching.
Well, one of the things that you find that I've found from people that we've talked to is, if you got a grudge or something, there's no room for that in the spirit world. So a person that leaves her all gnarly and frustrated and everything, they can't be that way in the spirit realm. So you might find that if you've had disagreements, that somehow or other you'll get a notice that disagreement has been resolved, and you can just, your heart will just feel lighter, you feel happier, and you want to go out and do something nice for somebody, and then mom will be happy too.
Right. Well, I really believe after I get my settlement, I think my mother would even be more happier with what's going on. And, so, I mean, she's happy now, but I think that
she was afraid she would, you were going to lose the money somehow. So stay on that one because you're 100% right. She wants to make sure that you get that because it seems to me, just from what the impression I'm getting, is that's almost going to be a life-changing settlement.
Yeah.
And, everybody's looking for one of those for sure. It
wasn't by choice, Ray.
Well,
it was not by choice.
Well, unfortunately, that's, every day I wake up every day, I thank God for being alive, and
exactly.
That's the first blessing you get every day. You got anything you want to add, honey?
Oh, gosh, not that I can think of right this second.
Okay. We are blessed every day, and, the one thing which I found, and I touched on this a little bit last show, I'll do it again, is if you're doing the right thing, it'll be a lot easier than if you're doing something that isn't going to be good for you. You'll be struggling if it's not what you should be doing. If it's something that's clicking along and, oh, this is so much fun. I had a real good time today. I went bowling with a friend, saw a friend from high school that I hadn't seen in 20 years, whatever it is. You just be happy. Life will be worth living. And I think that's where you're headed this year. This is going to be a very good year.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a warm-up pitch between now and the 1st of June, and then it'll be the fastball from then until the end of the year of good news coming your way. Okay, and remember, as you get your blessings, give thanks.
And I do have one thing. Right after Ray asked me if I had anything to add, I'm picking up this information about a scarf, and I don't know if it's your mother's scarf or she had a favorite scarf or you have a favorite scarf, but that's what I'm getting right now.
Something that she may have left behind for you.
I would have to talk to my cousin about that. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It was her death was totally unexpected. I think she knew, but none of us knew.
That's an interesting point you make there. I'm going to talk about that for 1 second. The closer a person gets to their transition date, the more time they spend in the vibration of spirit than they do in the physical. I heard my mom talking to her brother. She can't talk to her brother. He's been dead for 20 years. She talked about an old boyfriend that she had in high school. But he died right after they got out of high school. He went in the military and got killed in Vietnam or whatever it is, And the truth is that, we get some kind of a signal that it's getting by on the time. So, I always tell people, 50 years of age is an interesting time because once you're 50 years old, you're in what I call the anytime zone. You can get a surprise that time to go home. But that isn't anything. Don't go drink beer and worry about it, because you're going to live as long as you're supposed to live. And when that time is up, then you go home. And this is not like going to some horrible place. This is like going to paradise, where you're going to have everybody that loves you around you, including your pets. I always have to keep saying that. You may have an opportunity to come back and do it again. I do believe in reincarnation, and so, a lot of spirits don't come here because it's tough, but the only thing I say is that if you've had a good time here, then just enjoy it until your last day. It's a blessing, and you've been blessed. But you've got some good things coming around this year, so be optimistic, keep your eyes wide open, and keep that smile on your face, because that's what people are going to be looking at. Okay?
Absolutely.
And please
thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, tell people about our show, will you please?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember my mother First introduced you to that show long years ago, that when you were on that Joyce show. And that was many, many years ago, and she told everybody about it. Everybody. Right. So, and now it's my turn to tell everybody about this show.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, is this Heather? All right. Okay, you're on the air with the Mystical Connection, and here's Ray.
Oh, Heather, how are you?
I guess I don't know really what to ask.
And that's okay. Yeah, you don't have to ask anything. Ray's probably just going to pick up on whatever information Spirit wants you to know.
Okay.
Well, the first energy that comes to me right now has to do with your home. I don't know if you're thinking of moving or buying a new home, but I want to tell you, even though, we're in an inflationary period and COVID is still hanging around, this is a good year to do it. Because, it may not be from a real estate standpoint, it may not be the best thing from a real estate standpoint, but it seems like the type of house and how you want it built and how you want it laid out is out there waiting for you to knock on the door. And have you thought about moving?
Yeah, the thought has crossed my mind and my husband's mind too.
Okay,
we want to buy the place that we're living at, but I'm not sure. We're not quite sure about it yet.
Well, when you live in a place for a while, you kind of gain an identity that is reflective of the place you're living. And but I would say, if you said, should we do that or should we find someplace new, I would say go for the new. Because the place with the layout and the quality of the home, is just really important to you. And I think your husband respects you enough to want to make sure that you get what you want. And I think it's out there, and I think it's within your financial means, And, I think if you tried to buy the home from the person you're renting it, if you're renting now, if you're renting it from, you might have some, I guess, unusual expectations of what it's worth or things like that. And I think you'd do much better to start all over. Plus, it's a new beginning. It's something exciting to do together. And the cool thing is that I see is that moving for you, so for some people, moving is like death. It's a horrible feeling to have to pack everything up, put it in a truck, take it someplace, unload it, and reposition it in a new home. I always say every time that I move, it'll be the last time that I move, and it never is. But this will be something that I think as a couple, I think it'll be a very good thing for you. Almost like a second honeymoon, where you get to get this beautiful home. This is our home. Welcome to our home. This is where we live. That kind of thing, where it's just have all these nice feelings and thoughts about it. You'll sleep better there. You'll have enough room to invite people over, have family come and stay. I mean, just a lot of good things going on, plus all the appliances that you need. Just don't stretch yourself too thin. I mean, housing prices are going up and down and up and down, and we never know exactly what tomorrow's going to bring in that regard. But if you find one that fits the bill and it's within your financial means, then I'd say go for it. That much before buying the house that you live in. So
that makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for giving us a call.
Thanks to everybody that joined in and watched the show today.
We appreciate you very, very much.
Yes.
And also, if there's anything you'd like us to talk about, send us a text or something, and we'll do it. I've got a broad background in spiritual experiences. From everything from readings to hauntings. A lot of studies on UFOs and things, and we'll be happy to talk about any of those on this show. That's what it's about. It's a paranormal discussion group.
Yeah.
So we'd love to have you join us again next time.
Ray is where I'll do a little plug for him. He is working on quite a few books right now, and we're getting some covers. We're having some editing done, and he'll have some books that'll be launching here in 2022. So watch for those too. We'll be posting all that stuff on social media.
Yeah, they're all mysteries.
Yes,
and
paranormal.
All have a hint of paranormal activity. Many of them have events that I actually participated in, or I saw or heard of myself personally. Real stories, I guess, is what they are.
Yeah.
But they're all fiction, and they're all done in a very positive and happy manner, and I think you'll love them.
He loves to write, so, and he takes that vivid imagination and combines it with his years of experience, to make a spellbinding story for the readers. So.
And we'd love to have you take a look at those when they come out. And of course, we're here to help you anytime. Yes. Just give us a come again.
Yes. Thanks to everybody. Right. Have a great evening. And I hope it's not too late to say Happy New Year. It's only the 11th of January, so.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.